Ooh, Suki now. Yeah. Who's fired up, man? Who's fired up? Who is fired up for this fight? Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. Man, I am so fucking fired up. I can't play. I listened to Virgil Hunter's breakdown, Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. I listened to Kenny Porter's breakdown of Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. I listened to Derek James' breakdown, Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. I mean, this is the fight, y'all. Don't miss it. Don't miss this fight now. Don't miss this fight. This is the fight. Now, people talking about unification, but remember, Mayweather unified with Pacquiao. He unified with Marcus Maidana. It was in 2015, though. That was 4 years ago. But then again, Keith Thurman unified with Danny Garcia. If I'm not mistaken, that was in 2000, what? Was it 16 or 17? I can't remember which one. Right? We've had unification fights at welterweight, but this one is interesting. Ain't nobody can tell me this ain't interesting. Right? Most people got Errol Spence winning the fight. Most people. But they're not 100% sure. I remember when I first called this fight, I said this is a 50-50 fight. When I heard the name Sean Porter, I said, nah, this is going to be a tough fight. For whoever facing Sean Porter, I knew it was going to be a tough fight. And it's going to be. Right? It's going to be a tough fight for Sean Porter as well. But you can see Sean Porter is bred and just groomed to deal with tough situations. Sean Porter has gotten nothing easy in boxing. The way he came up with Kenny Porter, they came up hard. So I just don't see a lot of y'all guys saying Errol Spence was shot. D Style saying Errol Spence was stop Sean Porter. I listened to my boy Intangible Boxing saying he going Errol Spence. I don't see it. I don't care what y'all say. I don't see it. Shout out to Tommy Temper. Shout out to Get This Smoke. Guys, I've been trying to do the commentary for Sean Porter versus Kell Brook. I just can't get it done. I feel so angry about it. I've tried every single thing I could, and it's very frustrating because I stayed up last night pretty late, still couldn't get it done. I got the other things in the studio work done. I got all them other things done. I just couldn't get this done. I don't know why. You know, I can't download the video. I guess no, I don't have a YouTube downloader. Like it's a lot of crap going on with the phones, but man, I just it's kind of pissy. But what can you do? We'll see what we can do, right? But as to the rest of you out there, man, I'm telling you, man, this is the fight. This is the joint, right? Um, Porter versus Spence, I think, is going to be a fantastic bout. You know, a terrific bout. I got a shave and all that today. I got a whole set of things to do. I haven't done anything yet. I haven't even eaten yet. But man, I'm looking forward to this fight. I don't see anybody stopping anybody. I don't even see anybody dropping anybody. But I do expect a very competitive fight. Errol Spence is good on the inside. Sean Porter likes to live on the inside. Both of them like to work on the inside. The only thing with Errol Spence, like I said before, as much as Errol Spence is talking about sidestepping Sean Porter, he's going to realize very quickly Sean Porter also sidesteps his opponents. So it's about who could do it with minimal footwork position. I think that Errol will use his forearm to try and head control Sean Porter, but he's going to find it very difficult, like I said before, because Sean Porter does a lot of different things in there. I can see Errol pushing Sean Porter's head down with his forearm, trying to keep Sean from coming in when it's coming in low, because Sean comes in low. Sean has a lot of athleticism, and Sean uses a lot of feints. That's what I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Y'all talking about football and all kinds of shit. Y'all don't appreciate the different things he does, right? Sean's got various... All right, let me break down a little bit about Sean Porter so you guys will understand. Sean Porter in the Kell Brook fight showed me several guards, and several different styles of fighting from the outside. In fact, every single fucking round, Sean Porter brought something different. Every single round, he fought differently. He showed me different ways to get to the inside. You can work your way in bobbing and weaving. You could work your way off the jab, particularly the shotgun jab. You could work your way in off of feinting. You could work your way in off of countering. You You can work your way in and drawing your opponent closer to you and coming in off of counters. You can work your way in by moving around your opponent, getting foot position on them, and coming in off an angle. You can work your way in by leaping in. You can work your way in, and usually he leaps in when the opponent is going backwards. You can work your way in several different ways, and then he has several different guards he uses, sort of to confuse the opponent, also just to get them different looks. This is the kind of shit that Sean Porter does, and I think a lot of you guys just underappreciate it. And I really wish I could do the commentary for the Porter versus Kell Brook. Here's the problem with Porter, at least in the Kell Brook fight. He gets to the inside. You know, he always does. When he got to the inside against Kell Brook to land the body punches, it was a little wild in how he threw his punches, right? He tried to put all his effort into a punch, and sometimes he just needed to take his time and let the punch come so he could work the body. Because he was basically going for Kell Brook's body. Kell Brook, on the other hand, is very refined and slick and skilled. And he used his elbow to clinch in on Sean Porter, but he didn't hold it for very long. He held it for a second or so, and then he let Sean Porter's arm loose, but he would clench up the next shoulder here. Okay? So they were mostly arm punching on the inside, which is not very effective. But I got to say, Sean Porter, if he wants to get to the inside of you, he gets there. If he wants to jab you, he'll jab you. If he wants to pivot around you, he'll pivot around you. If he wants to go defensive and be defensive, he can be defensive. He does it all. He does it all. Errol Spence does it all, so does Sean Porter. So, and the thing, it's amazing because Sean Porter could be on the outside and he can outbox you on the outside. And he's done it to several fighters. All right? But Kenny tells him when to do what, how to do it, because Sean Porter's he's very athletic. And he has many different skills, but very few of them are honed. But this older Sean Porter probably has much more honed skills, probably sits on his punches better, and is probably much more accurate. But don't expect Sean Porter. This is what Virgil Hunter was saying. It's the same thing I was saying. The thing with Sean Porter is he's not as accurate as Errol Spence. Now. Bear in mind, Errol Spence has not been facing the level of competition Sean Porter has. When Sean Porter was facing lower competition, he was stopping guys or he was landing at a higher connect percentage. As the competition started moving up, his connect percentage was lower, but he threw a lot more punches. Now, Get the Smoke was talking about in his last couple of fights, Sean Porter was throwing less punches. That's because he was getting more accurate. That's one. Two, the style, he didn't need to do a high throughput style in those fights. So he didn't do it. It's really that simple. All right? And the thing is, everybody thinks Sean Porter is just this one kind of one-dimensional fighter. He's not. He is shown different, and he's very subtle with it. Take, for instance, okay. So Kenny Porter talked about this. In the Ugas fight, Sean Porter fought off the back foot. Ugas didn't expect that. He was expecting Sean Porter to come off the front foot. Came off the back foot, confused Ugas for 4 rounds. That's 4 rounds in the bank for Sean Porter. Leaped ahead by 4 rounds. It's hard to play catch up after that. Ugas did. Now my point being, Sean Porter threw him for a loop. He was expecting Sean Porter to come forward, fight him on the inside. Sean decided to outbox him, and he did. Now, when you look at Danny Garcia, Sean Porter fought him on the inside. Did some good inside work. Not super clean, but good inside work. It was effective. But he didn't only fight him on the inside. At times, he would go in and out, in and out, in and out against Danny Garcia. Against Keith Thurman, he had to bring the heat on Keith Thurman at certain points. And at other points, he let Keith Thurman come to him. Yin and yang. That's Keith Thurman's style. Yin and yang. So Porter played the yin and yang game. My point being that Porter does do different things inside that ring. Now, some people say he's a dirty fighter. I don't think so. I think that in a couple fights before, he would come in leading with his head, but he doesn't do that so much anymore. Um, does he fight you on the inside? Like he's much more cleaner with his work on the inside, and he's not trying. Might press his weight on you, but he doesn't put his head into your chest. But he doesn't really, you know, he's a lot cleaner with his punches. Not as wild as when he fought Kelbrook. So there's a lot of things that he's improved on in his game. We got to see if he can make weight and make it comfortably. If he makes weight comfortably, then we got to fight on our hands because both guys are big guys. And I think a lot of people are assuming that Errol Spence is just going to crush Sean Porter because Sean Porter is a small little dude. He's not a small little dude. Like I said before, and I'm going to explain it again to people, Sean Porter is a super middleweight. That's the super middleweight you're looking at. All right? Maybe a small super middleweight, but a super middleweight nonetheless. 165 pound super middleweight. So, if you think, for some reason, Errol Spence is going to stop Sean Porter, I just don't see that part. What I can tell you is, Errol Spence is going to try to stop Sean Porter. He's going to try. They're going to spring the track and everything, and they're going to maybe even have success. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe they won't have success. You just never know. But at the end of the day, when they spring that trap and they land their punches and they don't do shit to Porter and he walks through that shit, what do they do then? They better make their adjustments. I'm telling y'all. Now, I listen to D-Style. Porter need to walk through hell and fuck no. Porter's got defense. He can bob. He can weave. He can do a lot of shit. I don't care how good Errol Spence thinks his jab is. You know, he's got a nice sharp jab. Porter's going to get past that. Right? Errol Spence was going to have to use his inside game. I want to see if Errol Spence will hold Porter at a certain point. I'm telling you he's going to hold Porter. He's going to clinch him. Errol Spence taking pride and saying, I don't hold. He's going to clinch Porter. Watch. He's going to have to control Porter somehow. And one of the ways is he's going to try and lock up Porter. I'm telling you, Porter know how to get out of the clinch now. Porter's like Marcus Maidana now. So Errol's going to have to go to plan B, C, D. The problem Errol has that a lot of people don't understand is Errol has not faced that kind of adversity ever in his professional career. Maybe in sparring, but not in his professional career. Not only is Porter a dog, but he's a strategic dog. He's a smart dog. Errol talked about he's going to be the dog whisperer. Hey, talk is cheap. Back that shit up. You say you're going to stop him? Let's see you stop him, Errol. Let's see you stop Sean Porter. Come on, Errol Spence. You could do it. Come on, stop Sean Porter. I want to see that. I dare you to stop him. Man, I put money on the table for you to stop him. I would bet you money that you ain't stopping Sean Porter one fucking hell. There's no way in hell you stopping Sean Porter. I listen to all of them. These styles are all, oh, Sean Porter gonna fade in the later rounds and body punches. Fuck no. That man eat body punches, but again, he got better defense. So it doesn't really matter if you throw body punches. He's gonna protect his body. Right? And like I said before, he's athletic. So he's not gonna stand in front of your ass. You know, I know you're gonna have to use pivot work, but you're gonna have to make the adjustments to make that pivot work. Because guess what? Sean Porter pivots too. Everything you do, he does. May not do it as well as you, but he does it. Which means he can keep up with your ass. And just remember, he's bigger than you. You thinking he's smaller than you. He's fucking bigger than you. Think about that. By about 2 weight classes. Think about what I'm saying. You know, just register that shit in your head. Everybody's saying, oh, Errol, yeah, he gonna stop Sean late in the fight. Fuck no. Sean Porter never been stopped late by nobody. I don't care. Julio Diaz tried. That fucking shit didn't work, right? He's been hurt in fights, and you ain't been hurt in fights. The Kelbrook fight, you was hurt. You was going backwards on the ropes. You was moving forward then. I mean, come on now. Everybody get hurt in fights. It's about can you recoup, and can you recoup fast? And Porter fucking recoups really fast because he's a big dude. He's a big motherfucking dude. There's no time at Porter. I mean, Keith Thurman rocked his ass. Porter went He started to slump. He buckled, right? Danny Garcia got rocked by Keith Thurman, and he almost slept. He almost got slept. I think he was knocked out on his feet for a moment, and he just woke back up. That's the motherfuckers you gonna be dealing with, Errol Spence. You remember what Wilder did to Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury just got back up, and Wilder was like, "What the fuck?" Tyson Fury won that right. He beat Deontay Wilder's ass. That's the shit that you dealing with. These are elite motherfucking fighters. And of all of them, Sean Porter is the most well conditioned. Your ass ain't gonna get no pass or no fucking knockout. That shit ain't happening. It's not happening. That's why I look at all the other people. It's gonna get. Maybe that's a story for somebody who ain't. He's not Porter, Sean Porter, right? Of all the fighters, Errol Spence talking about and being dismissive about calling football style and all that shit. Of all the fighters you would look to try and knock out, this ain't one of them. You picked the wrong guy to try and knock out. Now, Kenny Porter, he being all humble and shit, talking about he all focused on this fight because they want to win it, obviously. But he know what he got. He knows what Sean is. He knows what Sean is. Right? He ain't gonna he being all humble and shit. But at the end of the day, I know Errol's a beast. But guess what? You also meet another beast in Sean Porter. That's a beast. That's a beast. You notice how many videos I'm making? You not knocking out Sean. You think you can knock? You ain't knocking out shit. You ain't doing nothing to Porter. And he has defense. And your jab that you're gonna throw, he can get past that shit. He can. I watched Kell Brook throw that well-timed jab and hit Porter on his shoulder. He just keep on getting out the way of the jab. Porter got that big-ass cut on his face from slamming into Kell Brook's head. That's what I tell you. His finishing touch is the problem he had. And if he could just get that fucking finishing touch, he'd be a terror. You know? And he's getting more and more off that finishing touch. You know, like on inside trades, he's gonna overwhelm Errol Spence with punches. Errol Spence tees off on you when he can get an angle on you and then run his punches. You know, Porter actually punches while he's moving, which is wrong, but fuck, he does all that kind of shit. Porter's crazy as fuck, man. You know, I think he's sitting down more on his punches, but I mean, he punches while he's moving. So it's not going to be an easy fight. He's not going to just stand in front of you and take punches, put his high guard up. Fuck no. Not Sean Porter. And as for you trying to catch him with something coming in, you're going to find it a little bit more difficult than you thought. You're going to find it a little more. You see, I'm saying all of these things this morning at 11 in the day. You know, still morning. I'm trying to get this thing. I watched that Porter versus Kell Brook and realized how much Kell Brook won that fight because he was able to neutralize Porter on the inside. That's why he won the fight. He really didn't do that a hell of a lot, I thought. You know, Porter just was ineffective on the inside because Kell Brook kept on clinching them up. And kudos to Kell Brook on that. Porter's learned from that experience. But to say that, and Porter kept on missing a lot of shots. And kudos to Kell Brook on that too. But I'm just saying that it wasn't because, he was, out jabbing Porter and landing jabs all the time on Porter's head. Nope, it wasn't that. It wasn't that at all. In fact, Porter, I thought, threw the more effective jabs. I thought Kell Brook was able to time Porter at times, get that jab right, because Porter was a little bit tired, so he's just kind of stayed in the center line and got bopped in the head. But as to say that, Kell Brook did something to destroy, he didn't really do much to Porter. Porter got beat up and bashed up in the face because Porter kept on slamming into Kell Brook's head. Porter just wild when it come to that part. But I don't think that's going to happen in this fight. So, even though it's a Southpaw versus Orthodox fighter. But you expect Porter to give his all as well. Will it be a sloppy fight like what I saw with Kell Brook versus Porter, where they just missing a lot of punches, both of them? Nope. I think this is a fight where there'll be a lot more landed punches by both guys. Um, and I think Porter is a lot more explosive than Errol Spence. Errol Spence is very solid, but I don't think he's as explosive as Porter. Porter is very explosive, a very explosive fighter. I don't know who will be the stronger of the two. I assume Porter will be because he's the bigger of the two. I do believe, but we'll see. But I'm I told people Errol ain't stopping Mikey Garcia, and I'm telling people now, you can put your money down on that one. He ain't stopping Sean Porter. That much I do know. I think he wins the fight. I think he wins the fight. I can't say exactly how. Does he blow out Sean Porter? It's possible. I mean, Kell Brook did blow out Sean Porter, but it was very competitive nonetheless, and that's mainly because Sean Porter wasn't landing. Will that be the same thing in this fight? I don't know. But what I do know is that no matter what result comes out, unanimous decision, draw, split decision, majority decision, for Errol Spence, it's going to be a hard fought fight on his part. It's going to really elevate his game. That much I do know. With Sean Porter, he comes ready. And he's going to come ready for this fight. You saw what he did with Keith Thurman. You saw what he did with Danny Garcia. You saw what he did with Eugenio Ugas. You saw what he did with Robert Guerrero. Was it Robert Guerrero? No, Robert Guerrero. No, it wasn't Robert Guerrero. That was Keith Thurman was Robert Guerrero. The fight before that was who? I can't remember. Adrian Granados, right? That's just Sean Porter. Sean Porter fights on the inside. You're going to get some shots in on him. Don't get me wrong. But he going to get some shots in on you. The question is, will his volume and his activity give him the fight over Errol Spence's volume and activity? Errol Spence throws a lot of punches, but he's been throwing a lot of punches against guys who have not been throwing punches back at him. Sean Porter is guaranteed to throw punches back at Errol Spence, so that the question is, will Errol Spence be having to pick and choose his punches a lot more? And then when he can crash Sean Porter, he's going to crash him. This is the question we need to know. A lot of people think it's an open and shut case. I think that Canelo versus Sergey Kovalev is a much easier fight for Canelo than Errol Spence versus Sean Porter, which is not an easy fight for Errol Spence. Tommy Temper, my dude, what's up, man? Let's go, champ. So I just don't see how people could be saying and ruling out Sean Porter from this fight, while I favor Errol Spence to win because he's a very good boxer, and I think it's a tough test for him. A steep curve. I do not think it's going to be something where he's going to just take the belt from Sean Porter, or work him to the body and break him down and then get him out of there. I just don't see that happening. All right. Sean Porter has so much of a chip on his shoulder that his will to win and his will to make a statement to Errol Spence is going to overwhelm everything else. And no matter what Errol Spence does, Sean Porter is going to keep on coming. He's going to keep on bringing the heat all fucking night long, all 12 rounds, right? So that I can guarantee you is going to happen. I wish Errol the best. I think he's going to win the fight. I still think so. I just think so based on the skill set he has. But a lot of people are overlooking Showtime Sean Porter. And if you overlook that guy, he's going to beat you. You cannot overlook Sean Porter. Never do that. This guy has proven time and time again he's a force to reckon with. Even though Kell Brook was beating him, mainly because of his inactivity, on the inside against Kell Brook, he was beating him. Sean Porter kept coming. He kept coming. All right? He made an adjustment in the 6th, 7th, 8th. Kell Brook made an adjustment in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. All right? He slid in to make Sean Porter shoot long on the inside. Sean Porter can do the same thing with Errol Spence. He can slide in, make Errol shoot long. Even though you're an inside fighter and you can shorten up your shots. There are just certain shots that you have to gauge the distance. So if you vary range, whether it's arrow or on varying range, you can make the other person miss the shot, even though you're on the inside. Arrow will be trying to pivot around Sean Porter, as we say, step around him, and land those lefts to the body, followed by right hooks and stuff. He gonna try and catch him off an angle. He tried to do that with Danny, with Mikey, but Mikey protected his body pretty well. He still got a couple shots in on Mikey, but Mikey again protects his body pretty well. It's definitely a different tier of fighter. Mikey Garcia's defense is always on point. People say Mikey was trying to defend himself a lot. No, Mikey was trying to counterpunch Errol, trying to goad him into counterpunching. He had some opportunities at certain points because he could not get past Errol's jab. He couldn't get to the inside of Errol. Errol kept on pivoting, and Mikey would try to pivot around Errol's pivot. And he had some success at certain points in time, but not, it was sporadic success. You can be guaranteed Sean Porter is going to get past that. He's going to get past the jab. He's going to get to the inside. The question is, can he do a good job on the inside or good enough job on the inside? He don't have to do a better job than Errol Spence. He just had to do a good enough job on the inside to keep Errol Spence sort of slightly overwhelmed and swarmed. You need to swarm him on the inside a bit. And if he can do that, he's got a good chance of winning the fight. He don't have to. Marcos Maidana wasn't the most accurate inside fighter, okay? But he was able to swarm Floyd, and that's what you got to do. I don't care how much power Errol has. If you cramp him for space, Errol still need to use the jab to kind of separate himself from the other guy. He collapsed those long arms, but them long arms is used to, how should I say, hooking things from a particular kind of distance. No matter what you do, you still need a certain distance. You need a certain degree of separation. You use the forearm to try and get his separation, but then when he looks to cut the angle, he's going to realize he ain't got the angle. Because Sean also sidestepped him. You know, step with him. You can cut off a guy from sidestepping or stepping around you by simply pivoting to him. You see? That's what Floyd did with Pacquiao. It wasn't on the inside, it was on the outside. Errol will have to do that with Sean. Sean will have to do that with Errol. So you can easily take away, when a guy tries to step around you, you can easily take it away by just pivoting with him. Knowing that that's what he wants to do, you pivot with him. You know? And if you are smart enough, because it's all about how you operate, you pivot with him, but you change levels at the same time. Whether it's you go up or you go down. Now, more than likely, you want to go down to get below the guy. And Porter is able to do that. He's shorter, so he can get down, bob, and weave. And then he could, very quickly, because he's athletic, step around the guy. So he might be able to step around Errol Spence. Or what he might do is he might just go even further into Errol Spence and sort of smother him. Smother what he was trying to do. And just keep stepping with him. All right? Because that's the thing with Porter. He's got very quick feet. Whereas Errol Spence, his feet is not as quick as Porter. Right? He got great stance, though. He got better stance than Porter, I think. So there's all these little things you have to look at, and the pros and the cons of both fighters. And I think that when you look at the pros and the cons and how this fight might go out, in a way, they're going to probably complement each other and match each other up pretty nicely. Right? Because as much as people talk about Sean Porter doesn't have skills, which is stupid because then you're overlooking all the skill he has. I think what they need to understand is he may not have the most honed skills, but the skills he has are very effective against guys in fights. You know, when has Sean Porter not getting to the inside? When has Sean Porter not thrown his jab? There's been no fight where he hasn't thrown his jab. He out-jabbed Ugas. He out-jabbed, I'm not talking about landing the jab now, throwing it. He out-jabbed Thurman. He out-jabbed Danny Garcia. He out-jabbed Julio Diaz. You know, he out-jabbed, what's the kid's name? That got knocked out by Danny Garcia. Adrian Granados. You know, he out-jabbed Adrian Broner. Right? So he's been consistently throwing that jab. And Virgil Hunter said the key to you know, having a chance against Errol Spence is your jab. And guess what? Porter has a very decent jab. And even Derek James was talking about that. So I'm just saying to people, I need to stop this with this video, but I'm just saying to people that You can't underestimate Sean Porter, and I think a lot of people underestimate him. Talking about Errol Spence gonna knock him out. What the fuck, man? How the hell he gonna do that? Tell me how is Errol Spence gonna knock out Sean Porter? How? They're gonna land more body punches. No, that's not enough. It's not enough, right? And remember, Sean Porter is a body puncher too. So if Errol lands a body punch, guess what? It opens him up also to get hit with a body punch. And Sean Porter swarms you, man. You know, it's one thing to talk about a fighter he's exposed while he's doing his offense. It's another thing when this fighter's constantly moving around while he's throwing his offense. Sean moves around a lot. He's always in movement. You're not going to just get him to freeze up so you can throw your punches. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, you don't understand what I'm saying. I know y'all don't even understand what I just said. Anyways, I'm just saying. I mean, you know, for those people who think that this somehow Errol gonna knock out Sean, I'm laughing at this. I'm laughing at this, and it's not just because he didn't knock out Mikey Garcia, because styles make fights. Mikey Garcia is a very sound defensive fighter, probably much more better defensively sound than Sean Porter. So it's not. It has nothing to do with okay, he didn't knock out Mikey. No, it has to do with the fact that Sean Porter, all right, is a bigger guy. Is proven to be much more durable, and on top of that, he does have defense. You know, he does have defense, and this man, his work rate is ridiculous. One, two, he expends a lot of energy to do different things, but he doesn't tire because of that because he's so well conditioned. So I just don't see. I mean, maybe some people can explain to me why they think Errol Spence gonna break him down. Oh, the body punching. Okay, but how much of that body punch is gonna land? I mean, if you catch Sean, I mean, okay. I seen Danny Garcia, which is the fight we really were supposed to do. I seen Danny Garcia land 3 to 4 body punches on Sean Porter as Sean Porter's coming in. Clean. Right? There's body punches that would put a guy down. Right? You know Danny Garcia ain't got no soft hands. Right? He got heavy hands. Keith Thurman said Danny Garcia swung and hit him on his shoulder, and he said if that had connected to his body or his head, he'd have been in problems. Sean Porter ate that shit up and kept coming. And landed his own body shots. That's what I'm talking about. And Danny is not a slouch when it comes to punching. So if Errol thinks that, you know, consistent body work, but how? How are you going to do that? How are you going to freeze this guy to get him to get all them body shots off? You know, and people are saying the combination of the jab and the body. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. I just don't see it. You know, I don't see it. The one thing Kell Brook didn't have was the body punching, right? The other thing, you know, a lot of people talk. You know what's the funny thing about this whole thing? People don't respect different styles of boxing. I've been saying it since 2000 and what was it? 13? No, 2014. Or 2015, I can't remember which one, when Canelo had to face Gennady Golovkin. And all this Gennady Golovkin rage, and Golovkin going to beat Canelo, he going to stop Canelo, and I was like, fuck no. And I did a video showing how Canelo can nullify the jab, get past the jab. For some reason, everybody talks about Roberto Duran and all these old-time greats, and they just blind to the fact that there are modern boxers today who actually can do that. They can get past the jab. Right? They can get past the jab. In fact, they live off the fact that you throw in a jab. But when they throw their jab, you don't have a response for that. They don't throw their jab very often sometimes because they counter off of your jab. And they don't counter a jab with a jab. No, they do different things. If you're an inside fighter, and you have to get to the inside, you better know how to get past the jab. Right? You got to, because you got to get to the inside. And that's what Canelo does. I listen to all these people. Oh, he had problems with Gennady Golovkin's jab. When? When did he have problems with Gennady Golovkin's jab? When did Gennady Golovkin snap Canelo's head back, like how Kovalev did Anthony Yarde several times? When has he done that? Never. In 2 fights. Sean Porter gets past a jab. That's what he do. When has he been bopped upside the head by Kell Brook or somebody else? He been once or twice. But for the most part, most of them jabs ain't landing. They ain't doing shit. The jab to the body, however, the jab to the chest, he was able to be successful with that a bit. And that's where Errol had to go. To the chest or to the body. Jab to the pit and that kind of shit. That's where Errol had to go. Right? But Porter, he knows how to just maintain distance and not let you jab him to the body. We saw it in the Kell Brook fight. So what I'm saying to you is, especially around 6, 7, and 8, like I said before, what I'm saying to you guys though is, in boxing, and this is boxing we're talking about, in boxing you cannot ever, if you don't know what you have in front of you, you're in deep shit, right? And I'm not saying that Errol's going to have to worry about that because, like I said, preparation is for every single situation you can think of. I truly believe he's prepared for every single situation. The problem is, how quickly can he adjust to those situations and scenarios that will be presented to him? And with Sean Porter, it's the same thing. Errol Spence is going to bring certain situations and scenarios Sean Porter hasn't seen before. Mainly because even though Sean Porter has fought body punches like Julio Diaz, and he's fought and had tough fights with Julio Diaz, by the way, and he's fought guys who can also fight from the outside, the combination of that he has not faced. He hasn't faced a fighter that has all-round game like Errol Spence and is strong. So that's where the challenge comes for Sean Porter. And with Errol Spence, he's just never faced a fighter like Sean Porter, period. And you can call him football, boxer, whatever. At the end of the day, he hasn't. And Porter's, in my opinion, is not a street fighter. But he is relentless. And he's going to be relentless in this fight. But yet, his aggression is going to be smart aggression. Explosive, smart aggression. In various ways. And whether Porter will stay on the inside or fight from the outside or look to counter or whatever, it depends on what game Errol Spence brings to the table. Similarly for Errol Spence, what game plan he will do will be based on what Sean Porter brings to the table. So that's what I expect. Do I think Errol Spence will lose this fight? Hell no. He's not losing this fight, in my opinion. I don't see him losing that fight at all. But do I think that he's going to be challenged? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Do I think this might be his toughest fight? Absolutely. That's what I think. Of course, he hasn't faced Sean Porter yet, so he can't say. And Sean Porter hasn't faced him yet, so Sean Porter can't say. But I think that this is going to be a tough fight for Errol Spence in his pro career. Amateurs probably had tougher fights, as is shown. All right, guys. So that's what I got for you guys. Man, I love this fight because it's one guy who's just classy, very skilled, all-around fighter in Errol Spence. That breaks down guys and gets them out of there. And the other fighter is very skilled fighter as well. Much more rough and rugged. Very explosive fighter in Sean Porter, who you just can't count out. You can't count out Sean. So we'll see how it goes. And I hope you guys have a good one. It's an exciting fight. I look forward to it this weekend. You guys have a good one. Tommy Temple. Oh, so I got some people here. Tommy Temple says, let's go champ. Yeah, man. It's 11 o'clock already. I'm going to see if I can still pull this off, bro. But I don't know, man. Fernando Montero says, I don't see a KO happening or stoppage. I think it's going to be competitive. It's definitely going to be competitive. Definitely going to be competitive. But I agree with you. I just don't see any KO happening in this fight. I think Errol, will show a lot of things. Show just why he is, the truth. He's going to show he's the truth. I think Sean's going to bring that out of him. But this is definitely Errol's test. This is going to be a test. Uh, 9JIATV says, man, you are very wrong. Okay. Well, time will truly tell. If you think Errol is an all-around fighter, fuck yes, he's an all-around fighter. Are you kidding me? You know who said that? Kenny Porter, who trained him, said Errol's got all-around game. He's an all-around fighter. Virgil Hunter said Errol has all-around game. He's an all-around fighter. Um, I mean, Errol said he was better in almost every capacity than Sean Porter, and nobody's disputing that. You know, like I said, Floyd was better than Marcus Maidana in every single area. That don't mean shit. You know, Floyd had some pop. Don't get it twisted. He may have bad hands, but he had pop. You know, 9JIATV says they have to hype him up. Nah, man, that guy's the real deal. Errol's the real deal. That's like saying Terrence Crawford is all hype. Who the fuck did Terrence Crawford face at welterweight? Nobody. Was the best guy on his resume. Gamboa, a guy that's smaller than him. I mean, come on now. If you're going to do that to Errol, you better do it to Terrence. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Don't do that. Terrence ain't fought nobody at welterweight so far. Errol at least fought Kell Brook. And Lamont Peterson, yeah. That's about it. Mikey's not really a welterweight. Wasn't a welterweight really, but he fought Mikey Garcia too, if you want to count that. Smaller guy. Right? Who has Terrence fought at welterweight? Nobody. I would say that Errol's Kell Brook, who was the #1 welterweight in the world, was a better win than Terrence Crawford's win over Gamboa, who was the #1 super featherweight in the world. You know, and then left there and went up to lightweight. I mean, you know, Kell Brook, okay, he didn't have all those. I mean, he had some defenses and shit after the Sean Porter fight, but he didn't really fight nobody, right? But at the same time, Kell Brook was considered the #1 welterweight in the world by Ring Magazine. You know what I mean? And Errol beat him. He beat him. You could say it was an injured Kell Brook, whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, Errol beat him. Beat him fair and square. Now, I know that Kenny Porter was saying something that's pretty true, which is that promotional companies and so on and matchmakers, they bring along a fighter according to his skill set and capacity, right? But Errol faced Kell Brook. You can't. What you gonna say about that? When he was the #1 welterweight in the world and beat his ass. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. You know what I'm saying? Errol also faced Lamont Peterson and beat his ass. I mean, bad. But Lamont Peterson's style again is more of a tough man style. Sean Porter not gonna stand in front of you and walk you down like that. And then he faced Mikey Garcia. You know, and he beat Mikey Garcia. Beat him. Easy. Schooled him. Couldn't knock him out, but he schooled him. And I just don't see how he gonna knock out Sean Porter. I just don't see it. I don't even see how he gonna drop him. I think Adrian Broner gonna do a better job of dropping Sean Porter because Sean Porter will actually lapse in concentration. I just don't see Errol dropping him. That don't mean that Errol's overhyped. He the real deal. He is. But see, who is actually gonna stop Terrence Crawford? I mean, who's gonna stop Sean Porter? Terrence Crawford ain't gonna stop his ass. In fact, if that fight ever went down, Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter, I think I have Sean Porter a better chance of beating Terrence Crawford than I have him beating Errol Spence. And the reason being, Errol Spence is just so much more sharper than Terrence Crawford. He's just so much more, you know, you could see that his home skills are much more honed than Terrence Crawford. He's a much sharper fighter than Terrence. You know, people say Terrence's ability to adapt is more than Errol. I can't really say. I can't say. Because the competition that Terrence Crawford been facing hasn't been on Errol's level or Errol's competition. So I can't say that. But what I could say is that, you know, I think that Errol is facing much better competition than Terrence Crawford is. Gavaliauskas, who the fuck is that? That's what they're lining up Terrence to face next. I don't give a fuck about no Gavaliauskas. You know what I'm saying? Who is that? Who's Gavaliauskas? You know what I mean? I don't care about him. So I mean, if you're looking at you know, top tier guys and shit, Arrow's got that all around game. Sean will give Terrence hell. And Terrence done already coming up in weight, he'll give him hell. I think he might beat Terrence, like how he beat Danny Garcia. He might actually get the win over Terrence because he's just a hell of a lot more active than Terrence is. And Bart like a firefight. And Sean like a firefight. So you know what would happen. That would be a lit fight. But Sean has some agreement with Terrence or something like that. But it would be a nice fight. I'm not going to say that Sean's going to pull the upset. It's possible. Anything's possible in boxing. But I just think that Errol's boxing IQ and ability to adjust might win the fight. But again, this is the year of upsets, so we just never know. Right? We just never know. Anything's possible. And if he beats Errol Spence, let's go to that Errol. It don't make Errol Spence any less of the truth. I don't see him beating Errol Spence though. I just don't see that. I don't see it. I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know how many people. I don't know what plan Kenny Porter and Sean had, but I think Errol will make the necessary adjustments to get the W. That's my thoughts, but we'll see. I don't know. I know Errol's solid. All right, peoples. I'm out of here. Let me go and try and finish off some other things that I need to do for Tommy Temper. You guys have a good one.